Bitcoin is really giving us a final warning before we see a huge exponential move to the top side. In this video I will tell you everything what's going to happen for Bitcoin in the coming days and what kind of price action we can expect. I also talk about the two altcoins Vechain and XRP, but later about that in the video. There's also a lot of interesting news coming into the market. The Bitcoin ETFs had a very interesting day yesterday. So watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame broke out of this huge consolidation phase, and we saw a beautiful breakout last week. And now we are seeing a little bit of a descending price action for Bitcoin. And I expect that we are going to retest this previous resistance to turn it into support. And if we're going to see a retest of this previous resistance, then you can maybe enter the market in the long, or you can just spot buy order, because I think this previous resistance will be strong enough to hold. And from there we can aim for higher targets. And if that happens, we can also create a new higher low. And this would indicate that Bitcoin is still in this uptrend on the 4-hour time frame. So if we come back to this region, that means that Bitcoin will come back to the 61.5k, and eventually we can continue the bullish price action to the top side. And yesterday we had a very bullish day for the Bitcoin ETFs again. We saw more than 200 million of inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, so that was very bullish. And of course BlackRock was buying like crazy. They bought for more than $224 million, so that is insane. And a lot of other ETFs were selling yesterday, so this is looking very bullish for the ETFs. And as I was saying, we can see this next spike to the top side, just like we saw before. We saw these 3 spikes to the top side, and that was also having a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. So every time we saw that spike to the top side, that was confluent with a lot of inflows, and then we saw a lot of bullish price action for Bitcoin on the charts. So that is looking very bullish. So let's see if Bitcoin can create this next spike to the top side, eventually maybe come to this $20 billion mark, and that will of course be very bullish. And the total cumulative inflow is now above the 18 billion, so that is insane of course already for the inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs. However, yesterday the Ethereum ETF saw again a little bit of a bearish day. We saw a total outflow of 13.2 million, so that is a little bit more bearish of course. The reason is because Grayscale is still selling their Ethereum onto the markets and BlackRock is not buying anymore. So if BlackRock is going to buy and Grayscale is done selling their Ethereum, I think we will see more bullish days for Ethereum. And if we zoom out on the daily time frame, we can see this horizontal level around the 61.5k is a very interesting level for Bitcoin to come back to, because this level was acting as horizontal resistance and support in the past. So I think after this huge break to the top side, we are going back down, retest this previous resistance as support, and from there we can aim for higher targets. So if this plays out, you can enter the market here in a long, and this will be a more risk-free trade for you to make. So I think in the coming days, Bitcoin is coming back to this level, and then you can shoot your shot. So you can maybe place your orders like I did, because I'm ready for this next leg up to the top side. And this could be your last warning to maybe eventually buy the dip before we even shoot up to the top side. Another interesting chart I'm always looking at is this daily chart with the more horizontal resistance and support lines. We broke above this huge resistance line on the daily time frame, and now we are coming to the next big resistance level, and we're already seeing a little bit of a rejection from this point, and this was around the $64,000. Yeah, and now we're seeing a little bit of a rejection, and we could come all the way back down to this 61.5k region again to test it as support. So if we're coming down, just don't panic, place your orders, because we're still in this uptrend, and I believe that eventually we will see more topside from here. And yesterday we had some very bullish news coming in. Russia is going to officially use cryptocurrency for trade settlements, so that is looking very bullish. And Russia is of course a very big country, so let's see if they also use the other BRIC countries for crypto trading, and I think they will mostly trade in Bitcoin. So this could also have a very bullish effect in the coming months for Bitcoin. This is one thing, but it's also because Russia is going to accept Bitcoin, and a lot of people in Russia are not able to trade Bitcoin yet. So if they're going to accept Bitcoin, a lot of Russian people may buy Bitcoin again, and this could of course pump the price of Bitcoin to new highs. And Bitcoin is still in this broadening wedge. We are trading inside of this broadening wedge on a daily time frame since the beginning of March. Every time we touched the lower side support, we saw a big bounce coming in, And also when we are touching the higher side resistance, we also saw a rejection from this point. So we are ranging inside of this broadening wedge formation, and eventually I think Bitcoin will go back to this top side resistance after bouncing from this lower side support. So let's see if we can come back to this higher side resistance. And of course we want to see eventually a break to the top side, a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support. From there we can aim for higher targets, and this $71,000 or $72,000 region will be the big resistance on the horizontal level to break for Bitcoin. And if we break this level, yeah, we can aim for a big new all-time high, I guess. And then we will come in price discovery, and then the sky is the limit. But for now, we are still trading inside of this huge broadening wedge, and we need to have some patience if Bitcoin can even come back to this top side resistance. Of course, there's also a bearish scenario that we're going all the way back down, and that will be around the $51,000. But I think after all, we're in this uptrend on the shorter time frame, so I think we will see more topside from here and eventually come back to this resistance area. And the first altcoin I want to have a look at is Vechain. I've been talking about Vechain a lot lately, and we can see Vechain bounce from this huge support area on the daily time frame. In the past we saw multiple touch points on the lower side as support, and also last week we bounced from the support, and now we are coming back to this huge trendline resistance, and we're seeing a big rejection coming into the market already. So we could also see that we're coming back down to this support, and eventually this price is getting squeezed into this apex. So we're looking for a huge breakout, and of course we want to see the bullish break happening. So if we're going to see a break, I want to see a fully daily candle close above this resistance area. Then I'm going to wait for a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support. And from there you can aim for higher targets, so you can enter the market in a long or spot buy order. And of course there's also a bear scenario, and that means that we're going to fall below support, then retest its support as resistance, and then aim for lower prices. But I think there will be a bullish break after all, and eventually we will aim for higher prices. And if we're going to break bullish out of this formation, the top side of this formation will be the breakout target, and that will be around the 5 cents. And this is also confluent with a lot of resistance here, so this could be a very interesting level. And of course, if you're going to buy at these regions, you can wait for more topside, and when we come to certain areas, you can also take your profits on the way up, because this could be a very interesting take profit place, because there's a lot of price action in the past. So if you're going to buy at these regions, you can maybe take profit at this place, and that would be a very nice gain to make. So this apex is coming closer and closer, so let's see what Vechain will bring us in the coming days and weeks. Another very interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is XRP. We can see XRP was in this huge falling wedge on the daily time frame. Eventually we saw a beautiful break to the top side, and then we came all the way back down to retest the previous resistance as support, and this could be a very interesting trade to make. And I'm always saying that you have to wait for a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and this is exactly what we did right here. So you could have entered the market in the long, and from this point you could potentially make a very interesting gain of more than 40%. So this was a beautiful trade to make. And if we then zoom out on the weekly time frame, we can see that XRP is in this huge consolidation formation. We see multiple touch points on the top side as resistance and multiple touch points on the downside as support. And we're already inside of this formation for 142 weeks. So that is since December 2021. So that is for 2.5 years already. So this is insane. And this, I think, is one of the biggest consolidations inside crypto I've ever seen. So this apex is coming closer and closer. So let's see if XRP can see a bullish break, or we can also see a bearish scenario that we're coming back to this lower side support. But of course we want to see this bullish break happening, a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, and then we want to see some bullish continuation for XRP. And if XRP breaks bullish, this huge resistance area on the top side will be the breakout target, because it's also confluent with the top side of the formation, and we can also see a lot of touch points here in the past as resistance and support. So this could be a very interesting place to take some profits. And from the point where we are now to there, it's also a very interesting gain of almost 60%. So that is an insane gain, of course. But for now we have to be patient that XRP is going to break out of this formation. So we could either see a bearish break or a bullish break. But well, let's see what's going to happen for XRP in the coming weeks. Please give a like if you find the video useful. Follow me on my socials, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.